What's up, responsible day traders? Today is Monday, September 25th, 2023. I am Lindsay Duff, and this is Responsible Day Trading. So we have had a very wild ride this last week. We did have a nice push to the downside. I was a little bit optimistic about it moving up. The immediate did have it move up, but we did see that there was a major retracement divergence, and we had feelings that it was going to pull down. I don't think I really anticipated it to pull down quite as hard as it did because it just flew to the downside. So we're going to take a look at that. We're going to take a look at expectations. It has reached another great area of support that could push it back up. But if we're looking right now at what the bigger tick charts say in the strength to the downside, it may not be done just yet. So it may hang out here for a while if it is going to push back up. But guys, don't forget, if you are in the Houston area today, we are doing a meet and greet in the downtown area. We just wanted to get together with some local traders. There's not going to be a presentation for that. There is going to be another meet and greet following immediately after, where we're going to be going through the beginner information. And we've really invited a lot of like the service industry guys out there, because if you know anything about me, I came from the service industry. I was a bartender for many years and waited tables for many years. And I really thought that I was going to stay in the service industry, even though I had a criminal justice degree, or have a criminal justice degree. I really enjoyed working with people. And I was looking to move into the management, and they said they didn't think I was management material. So it told me not only did I reach a ceiling, but I wasn't going anywhere, especially in the company that I loved being in. So I decided I needed more. So what I did was found more, and here we are today. But that is, something that we are super excited to put on. Really, the meet and greet is just to meet area traders for the first part of the meet and greet. And then those folks can feel free to stick around if they want to stay for the second half, where we're going to go through some beginner information, or what are futures, what are E-minis, because the trader meet and greet, we hope that all kinds of traders come. We don't care what you trade, just come and join us. Also, we are, just a hair away from having our new curriculum out. It is very much the same as our old curriculum. They're much shorter videos, a little bit easier to digest. And we are also translating them into Spanish, which that is about halfway done for the Spanish side. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and we want to make sure that everything is as clear as possible. If you are looking to learn a little bit more about NinjaTrader, we do have a NinjaTrader Platform Fundamentals, which teaches you about how to use NinjaTrader. So we have finished that in Spanish, and that is ready to go. So if you want to learn it in English or Spanish, we've got them both. So if you're new to NinjaTrader and you need to learn a little bit about it, we have those. You can just reach out to us and we'll get that to you. All right, guys. So the first thing we want to do before we look at the market is we always want to check out the news. So let's go ahead and head over there and check out the news. All right. So here you can see we go over here to responsible day trading. We're going to go to news, and we're going to go to market news. Now, under market news, you can see we don't have anything today for Monday. We do have some pre-market. That's an hour and a half before the market opens, since it opens at 8:30 Central Time, and these are all in Central Time. If you wanted to go here and change it, you can change your filters to look at lower impact news, or look at different parts of the world, or different time zones. So right here, we're looking at 7 o'clock, and then we've got half an hour after the market opens. We've got some news as well. Wednesday, an hour before and an hour after the market opens. Thursday, we've got some things going on here. So an hour before, half an hour after, and then we've got Powell speaking a little bit closer to close. And Friday, we actually have some pre-market news. So there's a lot of things that may get this moving, although the market seems to be moving pretty well on its own right now. So let's go ahead and pull up the daily chart first. I like to start with the daily chart because it is our biggest chart that we use. Now, the daily chart will tell us what's happening throughout the day. And you'll notice we don't have a tick counter on the daily chart, because the daily chart doesn't count down in ticks at all. It just has one bar that creates throughout the day. And when it's done, that dot will plot, and we start our new bar the next day. Okay, so last week we were talking about it pulling up just a little bit higher here, which it did for a minute, and then it just pulled right back hard to the downside. Now, what we can see is we have some strength in the MACDs. The MACDs are showing distance between the BBs. We're exceeding that previous BB point. Now, I say that right now, this could change. This particular bar and this BB will be moving throughout the day. You can see here on the 233 tick chart where the BB is moving as the bar does. Well, the same thing is happening over here on the daily chart. It's just on a much bigger scale. So we don't see it quite move just as much as we would if we were watching a quicker, smaller chart. So as we're looking at this daily chart right now, what we're seeing is immediate strength to the downside. We're seeing closes that are happening below the previous close, which says more down, and we see the BBs pulling away. Now, these BBs are starting to get just a little bit lighter, and if the market makes a dramatic turn to the upside, we'll see this BB get closer to this previous BB and start to roll up. At that point, it would look a little bit something like divergence because we are lower in the price and the MACDs would be higher. But currently, they're both in total agreement where we're both lower than that previous pivot. So they're both saying more down at this point. Now, we have pulled into a major area of support. We got to this one previously. It held out there for just a moment because this is where we were at and we were anticipating it to push back up just a little bit. It only pushed up a little bit and then pulled back down to the downside. Now, as we're looking here at the daily chart, currently our direction, I know we're below the EMAs and we're below the zero line, but our direction is still considered up. And let me talk about why. We've talked about this in the last couple of videos, but I just want to make sure everybody fully understands it. We want to see a bar that pulls away completely from the EMAs and closes down below the previous close. Then we want to see the next bar close below it. When that happens, that gives us a lot more confidence that our direction has changed to the downside. It's kind of like this right here. It pulled away from the EMAs. The next bar did close below it, but just by a hair. So technically the direction would have been shifted to the downside, but we could really see that this was more of a reversal bar look than anything, and it pushed it back up here. So we want to see a bar pull away. We want to see the next bar close below it. And then we've got some pretty good confirmation that we're looking for continuation to the downside. Now, our next big area of support would be way down here. We've obviously got a lot of intermittent areas along the way, but our next big area of support would be down in this area. So if we do see this pick up the strength and push back down, I'm going to be looking for it to push a little bit further down, maybe here, and we'll see if it'll just keep on trucking to the downside at that point. But when we come over here and we look at our 28,657, and let me pull that up, our 28,657 has shifted its direction to the downside with some, what I like to say, some conviction. So we pulled away from the EMAs here, we pulled back in, and you can see what happened with these EMAs, how they started to really spread wide and open to the downside. We pulled back into them here where we rolled at the zero line and below here. Now, one thing we do notice is we do have a little bit of divergence going on here. So we'll just look at that really quick. I mean, even up through here, there was some divergence. And I'll even draw it all the way up there so we can look at it a little bit further up. Now, we did have an initial divergence here that moved the market back to the upside. When we came down at this point, we did exceed that divergence area, and it does tend to tell us that we've got a stronger market when we exceed those divergences. Now, we're not making a strong move to the downside, so maybe this makes a weak move and pushes us back up. But for now, I'm not going to really anticipate this price to push up hard enough that it's going to cut through these EMAs like butter and move back to the upside and change this direction back up. We do have a couple of signs telling us that, you know, it's trying to move back up, but there's so much strength, there's so much momentum to the downside. It's a little hard to see that happening right now. Now we do see that the price has pulled down kind of significantly in this little move to the upside, and the MACDs have not. Right now, they are actually trying to create a blue BB, which would tell us a push back to the upside. So what we're going to need to really see if we're going to anticipate this to move to the upside is the cut through here. We want to get back above this area. We want to get back above this area. And right now, that's a lot of work to do. We know, just like any other day, the market can do that work if it wants. You know, people want to see that market move to the downside. It's going to happen. But right now, we're just kind of in that, is this going to move us back to the downside, or is this going to pull back into the area of the EMAs? Right now, MACDs are leading a lot higher as we had that reversal bar here. So let's go ahead and look at the rest of the charts. So these are our trading charts that we're looking at. We've got the 10946, the 1597, and the 233. Those can be intertwined with some other charts that we use, maybe a 4181 or a 610. And we have a couple of different combinations that you can use if you like, just to shift the amount of data that's being shown on the screen, to maybe pull it in a little bit closer or spread it out a little bit more. Whenever we have really choppy markets, I like to pull it in a little bit closer. So maybe have the 610 here and the 1597 here, just to have a little bit smaller viewing area. Now, the 1597 is my trading chart. The 10946 is my chart that tells me that the bigger picture, the direction, instead of having to look at the 28657 and the daily chart, which are extremely large, this narrows it down just a little bit more. So if I'm looking at my 10946, direction is to the downside. We are been back below the EMAs, we've been back below the zero line, so direction is down. Let's see here if we had any divergence. Well, we obviously have divergence between this low and this high, but it's trying to show us more down. But if we look at this, that's happening right here. This is what we call retracement divergence, where the price has pulled down a lot lower than the MACDs could, which tells us the anticipation of the push back up. So you can see the price pulled down at least 50-60% of this original move to the upside. And we'll just draw some, I could use just want you to look at it like this. So it's pulled down this far. Look at what the MACDs have done. MACDs have barely moved down. That tells us we have a better chance of the immediate pulling back to the upside over the immediate moving it to the downside right then. And so we can see right here in the immediate, it is now moving back towards the upside. So what this does is this, if we do anticipate this market to push back down, this gives us the opportunity to not be run over when it pulls back into the EMAs here, or when we see what looks like reversal bars here. Because what will happen a lot of times is people have learned similar methods to what we do here, and they've been told that every time it pulls into the EMAs, they need to take that move to the downside. Well, that tells you that you're trying to tell the market what you want it to do instead of listening to what the market is saying. And you can see almost immediately the result of what happened there, just pushed way strong hard to the upside. We're now pulling into the EMAs. Do we anticipate it to push right off these EMAs and push back down? Well, if this breaks above the Bollinger Band here and shows us good opportunity to move back above the zero line, then yeah, we just might. Something else, right, what's happening right in here with the 1597, and we talk about this a lot, where it's gotten wishy-washy. It's shifted the direction above, it's shifted the direction below. It attempted to shift the direction above here. Did it? Well, this is our first bar pulling away. We didn't close above the bar, but we closed at it. Nope, this is our first bar pulling away. So we anticipated that push back down, but now we have absolutely shifted the 1597 direction back to the upside. So with this being our trading chart and this being our entry chart, we want to feel more like things are, that pendulum is swinging more in tune together. Right now, it's just kind of wavering back and forth and back and forth. So typically what I do at this point is let it work itself out. that means patience. That means sitting there and waiting for it to tell us what it's going to do instead of trying to force things to happen. Now, what I love here is we are breaking back above the Bollinger Bands. We do still have 7,000 ticks left. We're breaking back above the Bollinger Bands, which does show us a little bit of indication that it might break above the zero line. We do have white BBs here. They are still outside, but here is one hint that this might pull back just a little bit more. Now, this is a very weak hint because it's on the 233, but we do have some retracement divergence, just like we were looking at here. The price, actually, this is actual divergence because the price has pulled up above this area and the MACDs were leading lower. So what we do at this point is we watch this and we say, okay, does this have the ability to push us back to the upside? Are we anticipating it to pull back deeper before that happens? So as we were watching this area happen and thinking, should I be taking a long to take us up to that next EMA? We had to watch what's happening right in here to say, we may want to wait just a moment before we do something like that. So paying attention to the signals on all charts is very important. Sometimes we want to get centered in on one chart and we want to think to ourselves that, oh, this one is telling us exactly what to do. We need to listen to this. But there is the idea of looking at what's the full picture, what's the full story. So we could see right here, it even pulled back just a little bit more. It's giving tiny little bars and we're getting this very, very weak start to look to the MACDs here. But whoo, that is still pumping to the upside right there. So as we're looking at all of this, we want to take every chart into account. We don't want to just look at the daily chart and say, okay, well, the daily chart is pushing hard to the downside. I'm only looking for shorts today, because that's going to leave anything else out that would give you the opportunity to move to the upside. It's going to create a bias that is based off a much bigger picture than what is happening in the immediate. And we also want to take things like the 28,657, the next one, into account. What's it telling us? And we saw that it was showing us some divergence potential to push back up. And look what happened with that BB. It turned blue and it's moving back to the upside. So are we going to see this EMA stay strong and move things to the downside? Or are we going to see it cut all the way up to the upside? Well, I guess we'll just have to watch and see. But more than anything, we want to pull that picture in just a little bit more. We want to look at what's happening throughout our trading charts. Our trading charts here, and as we said, look at what I said. We wanted to see it pull back further, and look how it has pulled back further with that little bit of divergence. It doesn't mean it's going to continue down because the 233 gave us divergence. It just said, pay attention that if you're going to try and attempt to take a trade here, or maybe get in late here, it has the opportunity to pull back deeper before it goes up, if it's going to. So those can really keep you out of trades that you're getting in a little too early and getting stopped out and then frustrated when it moves in your direction. So knowing how that works, paying attention to things like divergence, retracement divergence, the bigger picture versus the smaller picture, can really help you stay in tune and help you stay out of trades that may get you run over. All right, my friends, that is going to wrap that up. I hope that everybody has a wonderful week. I have a class that I'm in about 45 minutes, so I've got to get this done and out as quickly as possible. And with the meet and greet that we're doing tonight, I'm going to have to run early today too. So I hope everybody has a wonderful week. If you have questions, please reach out to us. Don't forget, we've got the scholarship coming up. So our scholarship will be announced in the middle of October. We still have time for you to fill out the application. If you have not, go to the website and there is a spot right there where you can get started and sign up for the scholarship. Scholarship is a completely free VIP. There's going to be 2 VIP students and there's going to be 2 startup students. And the startup students, while they normally don't get any kind of coaching or homework reviews, we're going to get a little extra to our scholarship winners. All right, guys, I hope everybody has a wonderful day. And as always, you know that I look forward to catching you on the profitable side.